Welcome back to Our Truth. We have a brand new episode with another returning guest, Chance, from this season. Appreciate you for coming back. And as I always say, if y'all been following along, if not, thank you for listening to this first episode. Go back and check some of the episodes out. But this whole podcast was about started from mental health for men, and and then transitioning into me just trying to find different things. And then I came across the Power of the Subconscious Mind is one book. And a lot of these self-help books, they always talk about subconscious mind. They always talk about like your manifestations, speaking stuff, life into yourself. But the law of the subconscious mind, the power of the subconscious mind, go a little bit deeper into it. Some things that I really didn't. I mean, like if you grew up in the church, they teach you the same concepts, but they really don't. To me, they don't explain it deep enough. Like they just tell
Yeah.
you speak life into yourself. They don't tell you to if you speak negatively, it's gonna affect you. So like the first part I want to go to is like if you could, because also Chance created a what is I don't want to get the app wrong. Revation is it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's an app.
Yeah, he
It's an
created an
app that
app
I worked on. Yeah.
that was basically the same exact thing I'm talking about in the app. When I think I want to say I found the app that you shared it about 5, 6 years ago, and it was before I even started this journey. So that but that app makes a lot of sense now that I love that app. And I used to just open it up and read the quotes, and it actually helped me through the day. But I wouldn't tell myself, I wouldn't speak it out loud. I wouldn't have positive affirmation. So if you could just get into like just the first thing, the power of the subconscious mind, the power of your words. If you could just
Yeah.
what you think about that?
I,
Like how powerful is your words over yourself?
I got you. So, growing up, kind of like you said, like you go to church, you like your family member, this or that, they tell you, hey, study, do that. Like, not so much like speak good about yourself, but like, hey, if you do good things and good things will happen. I kind of heard it that way. But
Mm.
as I like became an adult, like moved out the house, went into the military, um, I found myself just kind of going through the motions, and I was like, there's something else out there. I just don't know what it is. Like everything, like, yeah, if you learn this and you do this, like you'll be good at it over time. Doing anything repetitively, you get better at it. But this was back when I say about 20, ooh, 13, 14. So it's kind of a weird story, but I got introduced to like network marketing, like all them different companies, they have that type of stuff. But this guy, he sent me some videos, and it was ET, well, they call him Eric Thomas, like the hip hop preacher, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. I mean, like all these people. But I heard these people talking about like you can be the best that you can be. You have it in you. You can be more than what your circumstances are. I mean, just positive affirmation over and over. And I'm like, hey, I like, like I like this. Like I've never heard it. Like people tell you, "Oh, you're good, you're good, you're good," but like somebody else telling you, like, "Okay, beyond like you're good, like you deserve to be the best version of yourself. You like can control that. You can control how your day goes." And just kind of breaking that down and hearing positive stuff over and over again really just opened my mind. So yeah, with the app, it's something like I took a break from. I am gonna reopen it. Like, don't worry, like that is coming back. Like I learned something along the journey, and how quickly that can turn. That might be have to be another episode, like the
Mhm.
business part of it. But I definitely I put it out there. So I made that group, put it out there. I mean, people flooded in. I had like 500 people in one section, another five in another. I mean, I had probably 1,000 people within less than a year, like talking daily positive stuff to each other. So I definitely know the power of it. Like I said, the business side, we'll talk about that part later. But just telling yourself, whatever you tell yourself in general is going to be what you think of yourself and what you believe about yourself. And what somebody tells you about yourself, you can either choose to believe it or not. And that's where that subconscious mind comes into, like you were mentioning earlier. So yeah, it's huge. I think it's everything. It is literally everything.
it's it's amazing because like I go back to biblical as well. I mean, because it's like the faith part. And that's
Hmm.
the same thing as the subconscious mind. Like it's crazy how it all kind of ties in. So some believers that say they have faith, but then you talk to yourself like you can't do anything. Like we all
Right.
do it, but you hear older people say, "Oh, I'm too old for that." Once you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
too old," or "I can't," it's like you already put the nail in the coffin before you even try to do
Right.
anything. And it was something like with me personally, I could just say like I'd be like, "Oh, that's not gonna work out." And then when it don't work out, I'll be like, "Man, why it didn't work out? I tried my well, you just told." But it goes
Right.
like, and it's a part in
Right.
the book was the craziest thing. So it's an actual story of it's like I believe it. They want to say I believe it's like the 1800s. It's a
Mm-hmm.
therapist that he hurt himself, broke his spine or something, so he was
Mm-hmm.
paralyzed. And so the way the story goes is he was sitting in the bedridden. His parents coming in there, everybody coming in there to help him out. His sister, all these people coming in there to help him out. And then so he couldn't do nothing. He just could watch people. So his parents would come in there, and then one time his sister was like, "I don't want him to suffer like this." They don't think he can hear it. He can hear, but she just mouthing the words and the outside, and he got so good at because all he can do is use his eyes. So he got so good at
Yeah.
lip reading that he seen her say that I think that he should just die. So after that, he
Oh.
felt in the book it says that the man said that he felt that he didn't want his parents to wait on him anymore. So he said, "I will walk." So it took about a 5 to 10 year span. He ended up walking, talking again, all of that. Like I said, he was bedridden, couldn't walk, couldn't talk or anything. So
Yeah.
he trained himself how to walk and talk and became one of the best therapists of the time because he understood micro what is it called? The micro I can't. But he understand like the people
Yeah.
movements and how they move
Right.
around and their eyes and everything about it. And then so, but the thing is, the point I'm getting to is just, and I have looked this up myself. Like all these people, like some of these rich people that you see, these billionaires, we think like, oh, that's not attainable. But one thing that
Right.
they all say is, once you fix your mind to something, and no matter what nobody say, if you become obsessed with it, like CT Fletcher, somebody that I listen to when I working out, like he was like, you have to
Hmm.
be obsessed with this. Whatever you want
Right.
to accomplish, you have to be obsessed with it almost to a point where somebody can tell you you fail. And you even if you fail, I don't care. I get it next time. Like you have to have that
Right.
kind of energy. Same thing as sports. Like it's crazy how it works, but and then me personally, like when I will call like a low point in my life, it's because everything I was telling myself was, you this, you that. It's all negative. You see what I'm saying? So I
Hmm.
didn't give myself an out. So this is why I want to do
Hmm.
this. And so the question too, I'm getting leading to. So if you could talk about like what would you feel is a way, like if somebody listening to this and they like, man, this sounds crazy. Like what would you feel is the first way, like to even lead to that? Because it's a journey. Like I'm gonna tell you right
Yeah.
now, you can try to be positive all day long. Something gonna hit you eventually. You're like, God, I thought I was working, but it's a journey.
Yeah.
But so what would you say that first step is just to lead to being in a positive mind state?
Um, I would say, and I'm gonna go back a little bit. I was listening to a book earlier today. It was about Booker T. Washington. I think it was Up from a Slave or something like that. Don't quote me on the title of it, but he was talking about just overcoming adversity, like him remembering like being born into slavery, being freed, going to school. And I was like, you know what? That also plays into the subconscious. Like he like believed way back then. I'm talking all the way back then that he had more for his life. Like this is before he could even read a book. Like literature wasn't the big thing. Like if you could read, you were like it was almost like a godsend back then in the black community. But seeing something like that and seeing how much adversity people have overcome over and over and over again, like fact, I mean, we can look up stories for days of thousands of people that have just overcome by believing in themselves and whatever they put their mind to. Like truly, like they don't give up. Like you said, they have that obsession. They're determined, and
Mm,
it also kind of plays into law of attraction. Like whatever you want, you're gonna start. You first you have to believe it. Like you gotta have a undeniable belief that this is true. Now you could do it could go both for good and bad, but You have to have an undeniable belief that, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. Like, you create the picture of yourself and what you want your life to look like, regardless of your current circumstances. And you map that out every day. And then that's what you go towards. Like, your mind will start rejecting anything that doesn't match what you tell yourself. So if I'm like, hey, I'm unfit. I'm like, no, I'm fit. Like, it doesn't matter what somebody tells you. It doesn't matter what somebody says. Hey, you're not gonna be successful. No, I know I'm successful. It's just like this confidence, this whatever anybody says. If you believe it in your mind for yourself, you're gonna go in that direction because it's what you truly want for your life. I don't know if that answers the question, but you know,
Yeah, yeah. The first you saying the belief starts first,
yeah, absolutely,
belief,
absolutely,
and then what I notice is to be positive and to be in a good mood, you create that yourself. Like something I hear all the time is I need somebody to make me happy. I can't be in a relationship to such and such make me happy. Where's a male or a female? That's the man. And I used to
right,
feel that way too, but
yeah,
then
right,
you make yourself if you can't make yourself happy, then you just
yeah,
unhappy. It's on you. Like it's not
yeah,
the other person should add to your happiness. Yeah, they can subtract from your happiness, but at the end of the day, you're supposed to be able to make yourself happy. That's not on them.
absolutely,
And that goes with any relationship, friendship. I need some homies that's gonna turn me, you hear turn me up. They need to, yeah. Nah, you should be
right.
able to be good by yourself. But it's like
uh,
it's a different way of thinking it. Like,
yeah,
like I had to like I said, it's a process. So at first I would wake up and I go meditate, and then like I believe, okay, I don't have to keep saying that, but then I pray, and then
mhm,
that's where I will stop. And then so
mhm,
eventually I was, something to happen, and I'm like, I'm not doing that today. So I had to get it's a routine too. That's what I'm getting
yeah,
at. So your routine cannot change even if you're having a bad day. That's the hardest
right,
part as well. Like your routine determines your success as well. And then also believe that you're successful even before you attain what you're getting. That's another part of the manifestation and
mhm,
subconscious mind. Because what is it they say? The subconscious mind don't know when you plan.
right,
So if you in your mind like, you this, you ain't fit, you bony, you ain't gonna get that
right,
job. You going to the interview, beating
right,
yourself up. Your subconscious don't know you playing. And what I used to call it is I tell myself stuff before other people tell me. But that's dumb. If they gonna tell you, wait for them to say it. You already beating
right,
yourself up for something that ain't even happen. Like that's
right,
anxiety. Like anxiety is mostly worrying about stuff that haven't even happened yet or may not
right.
ever happen. But
Worst
yeah,
case
it's
scenarios.
worst case scenario type of person, and that's always me. Negative, glass half empty.
Yeah.
That glass can be full. It still got a little bit. It's almost empty. You know what I'm saying? But that's the feeling, though. It's like
No,
it's
I
the feeling,
I
but
agree. I
yeah, it's
agree. No, I mean that's funny you said it. Like, I didn't really learn myself until I left my, well, they call it hometown or whatever. Like, I left Charlotte and then went when I was out in Hawaii. That's when I had to figure out myself. Like what you were saying, like you gotta, like, I can't be happy until like that whole cliche thing. That's where I really found myself out. Like, I didn't have personal development back then, but that's where I found out. You know what? Like, it's okay to be alone. It's okay to, like, I remember my dad, he said this one. I like He's got some quotes that, like, kind of, how people say stuff and then years later it pop up in your head. You're like, oh, that's what that meant. He was like, because I was stressing out about it being in Hawaii. Like, my whole family was back in Charlotte. Like, I was out there by myself, and
mm,
he was like, well, this is your time to figure yourself out, figure out what you like. And I was like, I like my family. What you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Like, he was like, no, like this is your time to learn who you are, what you like, etc. And he didn't go into it. He just My dad, he would say stuff and then just not explain it like anymore. And I wouldn't ask. I'm like, I don't want to get too far into it. But I realized, like, what he was saying. He was like, no, like, and from that day forward, like, once I made it out to Hawaii, like, even though I had this situation going on and that one, I'm like, you know what? I do like this type of stuff. I do like that type of stuff. This fits me, et cetera, et cetera. But and then moving back with that family, I feel like I advanced myself so far that when I got back and back with her, she hadn't kind of done the same thing. So that's where it kind of went into the, hey, if you can't make me happy, etc. But no, I think visualize, like vision board stuff like that. Like you hear about it, it sounds crazy to everybody. But my favorite app is Pinterest. I tell people that all the time. Like I have so much stuff saved on there that I just look at. And when you tell yourself, hey, I'm gonna be successful, hey, affirmations, like everybody's heard of the word affirmations, like what you tell yourself and what you believe, once you start looking at it, I think your mind will accept anything that fits that narrative of what you're telling yourself and rejects anything that doesn't. Like if you tell yourself every day, I only want healthy relationships. I only want healthy relationships. Any toxic, anything that ain't worthwhile, you just I only want healthy relationships. If you say, you know what, I'm gonna be financially free, I'm gonna be financially free, I'm gonna be financially free. If you keep saying it in your mind over and over again, you're gonna block debt. You're gonna block just frivolous spending. You're gonna block whatever. Like there's a million things that you can say, but your mind, like you said, your mind doesn't know when you're playing and when you're not. But it's gonna start rejecting anything that doesn't match that vision of what you verbally spoke out to yourself and what you truly believe in your mind. You control everything that I'm not gonna say you control everything that you put into your mind. Like there's some outside parts of it
Mhm.
too, but you control what you keep in it. You
Yeah,
control
you
what you keep
you
inside of it.
feed. That's what I say is what I had to realize, like you are what you feed. Like
Yes.
music is a big
Oh my
example.
God.
People will argue me down. "Oh, it's just music." I'm like, so you telling me if you listening to gangster music all
Right.
day, every day, it don't affect you? Nah, I'm bud that I'm grown. I'm like,
Right.
nah, I gotta
Right.
admit, like sometimes I gotta cut it off. Sometimes I
Right.
listen, I be like, man, I ain't even feeling this today, man. Like
Right.
it's just the truth. Different
Right.
music put you in different. Or I sent you that meme. Like I need to share that. But where they was talking about water, where they did the water test, like that was the craziest thing I ever heard of. They did a water test, yeah. So what these scientists did is they played music for the water, and
Mm.
then they looked at the molecules to see what would happen. So certain music made the molecules, basically the way I can describe it is die off. And they tried it with rice too. So they certain music made the molecules like, like aggressive, like move together real fast.
Oh
Certain
yeah.
music made the molecules slow down. Certain music made the molecules just dance outrageously, like angry. Like it gave it
Mm.
different emotions. And this is
Mm.
water. And what are we made up of? Water.
Water.
Like you telling me
Right.
propaganda don't know. They don't know when they put videos of certain things on TV during the Super Bowl that you gonna want to go get it. They know
Right.
it's all a game. It's all planned. Long as we don't
Right.
understand the power of our mind. Like I hear people say, "Ah, that's rich people stuff." Like I had to stop saying, or some not say. I hope this ain't
Mm.
offensive. But something I used to always say is, I'm a poor black man in a rich white man world. I had to
Oh
stop saying
Lord.
that. I'm like, bro, as long as you say that, you know what I'm saying? People be like, how you doing? I'll
Yeah.
be like, my friend call me like, what's going on, bro? I'll be like, you know me, just a poor black man in a rich white man world. They just start laughing. It's something funny to say, but
Right.
even on them, like even those words, like why you got to say that? Like
Right.
it's just little
And
things, and you repeat it so much though. Like like I don't know.
and even if a person does feel like that, like continually repeating it, like you start every, like you said, it sets the tone for the day. Like everything that you see, if it doesn't fit that narrative of what you just spoke, like it that I- there's so much that we can go to. I'm gonna try to keep it just this topic because you know me, I'll squirrel into 100 things. But no, I think what you, like you said, like the molecules, the music is so important. Like me, I find myself cutting stuff off all the time. I'm like, but I'm guilty too. I'll be like, you know what? I need to get turned up. Let me listen. I want to hear this. I want to hear, like, I know it's weird. We don't think about it like that, but like you said, they know what gets you going. They know what slows you down. Like I think it was Tank. Tank did an interview on Drink Champs, and he was talking about like R&B music. How
Mhm.
like if more R&B music was played in our communities, like we would be more together. It wouldn't be I'm FREE, you know, like it wouldn't be as much of that. It wouldn't be, you know, F this, F that, you know, just whatever, you know, just like So nah, I 100% agree that music and what you feed yourself is so important. Your mind is like a computer. I tell my kids that sometimes they don't know what I'm talking about. I like
Mm,
your mind is like a computer. Like whatever, if you just accepting everything that crosses your path, something might have a virus in it. Like
mm.
something might
I
have a
like
virus in it, and then you're gonna be messed up by that. So it's like important to monitor what your kids are. They put stuff in children's like YouTube videos and music and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they put in our stuff that we didn't know about. But like I said, it all goes back to that subconscious mind. You have to completely control what you put into your mind, what you feed your family, what you feed your family's mind with, etc. Like you have to, your mind is probably your most important asset because it runs your whole body, just like a computer. Like that chip inside that computer, what goes on that chip and that processor within that is the most important piece. Like how big it is, how small it is. Different computers come in all different stuff, but they all have that chip. That's the most important part. You know,
mm.
like what you put into that and what you allow onto that is so important, man.
And what you was talking about, Tank, I remember that he said I think it's Sam Smith. He said Sam Smith get to sing a
Yeah.
beautiful song, "Stay with Me." He said if I sing that same exact song, it get no bandwidth, it gets no radio play, it gets nothing. It's like because our love and our togetherness scares them. As long as we singing that we
Hmm.
don't care about her, we kill him, we shoot him up, we
Right.
get all play, we get on the radio. But once you sing, if they don't want to allow me, he was basically saying they won't allow me to be successful and sing that same exact "Stay With Me" song because black people staying together
Right.
is more harmful to them than good. They understand a family broken. That's a whole nother conversation. But a family broken is
You
easier to control than a family together.
you know, like I hate this phrase piggybacking off. I hate that piggybacking, but piggybacking off of what you just said, I
Yeah.
think subconsciously, like think about this, and I'm throwing it out there. Think about this: if our community subconsciously said, you know what, this person's not holding me back, like even though
Mm.
they are. This person subconsciously, this person not holding me back. I just got to go around it. They're not holding me back. I'll just have to find another way around it. Like if we said that every single day, I think, and this is I'm throwing it, I think that our community is just missing self development. If we had self development, if everybody had self development, it'd be it'd be crazy. That's what they don't want. Like if I keep pumping you up
That's what I was
with
like.
I can hear you.
Oh, oh, go ahead. No, no. But I was just gonna say that's
Oh,
why I was like, a lot of stuff we learn in school. Yeah, it's meant. I get it. We need to do the basics. But one of the biggest things they should teach us is what I said solution problem problem solving. As far as
mhm.
this goes with what you're saying, subconscious mind, problem solving as far as
Yeah.
arguments and finances. Like you saying,
It's
personal development and finances. If they taught you that in high school, every year, if you had to take personal development and finance one, and freshman year, sophomore year, personal development and finance two, every year, if you had to move up, and you can't graduate unless you can complete that four, just as a world, we'll be a better society. But
right.
that's stuff that you supposed. I get the parents supposed to instill in you, but if the parent didn't have that instilled in them, how you gonna expect somebody to do something that you got to go searching for that, man? And then, like I
Searching.
told you, it's a process. I ain't saying I got it figured out. I'm just saying, like, when I find stuff like this, I gotta bring it to this forum because it's amazing how
Hmm.
much it just did in my life in a little time. Like the whole way
Right.
I look at these turned differently. Like the whole way I wake up in the morning and speak to myself. Now I have my daughter doing it. Like, hey, what's your affirmations? Now I don't have to tell her. She just repeat it. I control my
I
mind,
like
body,
that.
and soul. I control my mind, body, and soul. Like there's certain things we say every
Yeah.
morning. So even if
I
you
like
have a
that.
bad day, what we gonna make? We're gonna make tomorrow better than we do it today. Like every morning. Like, and I used to have her doing it, but I wouldn't even do it. And I was like, what, how you gonna have her doing it? So I
Hey.
started doing it. See what I mean? But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
but
We growing every single day. Just like I tell people that like somebody might say, "Oh, you talk to yourself. You think too much of it." I mean, this is stuff I've heard. Like people have said this to me. We're not gonna name no names because they don't even deserve time. But people have said he's like, what? But people have said this stuff, man, you think too much of yourself. Man, you this and this and that. And I tell you something, people that don't want you to be confident in yourself and believe in yourself are people that either A, they don't do it for themselves or don't think that highly of themselves, or B, they just want to stop you from growth. Because what harm can come from everybody having a good subconscious mind? There'd be less fighting, there'd be less, I mean, like, there's so much positive that could come from it and so much innovation that could come from it. However, there's this thing called greed that people have to control certain things, and that's a whole nother topic. But like, your mind is so important. Either you're going to use your mind for your benefit, or somebody else is going to hire you for their benefit. Just how they, like, you get a job and then you work for them, etc. Nothing wrong with doing what you got to do, but if you can subconsciously say, hey, I'm using this to make ends meet while building this. You keep telling yourself that, you know what, this person talking crazy, this person doing this and that. Like, you can get through those days. I've had days where I wasn't subconsciously telling myself that. I just walk out. I'd be like, you know what, I'm better than this. Knowing, like, okay, you need to use this as a vehicle to get where you're going. And like you said,
Mm,
that faith part too. But if you don't use your subconscious mind, or anybody listening, your subconscious mind is your computer. If you don't use your computer and your bandwidth for your own purpose, somebody else is going to use your bandwidth for their purpose. If I can put mine and your head together, I'm working off of 48 hours versus 24. If I could take everything that you think, tell you everything that you should think, and you not think anything, hey, come at this time, we're gonna do all this, boom, boom, boom. I can get more done with the both of us. But if you use it for your good, not saying you can't work in teams and stuff like that, but if you use it for your good, you're gonna put as much effort as to what you're giving to somebody else to make a living into your
yourself.
own purpose and your own stuff. Yeah, it's so important. Like, people talk crazy, but then the people that talk crazy are the ones that have less self development. They might
Yeah,
have more resources and access, but that doesn't mean that they have self belief in themselves. And it's kind of a good thing sometimes to be the underdog, because you got to come further. Like, there was a interview, I think it was Venus and Serena, when that movie came out about them, their dad like cut off the reporter, because the reporter kept asking, like, so you believe you're gonna win? You believe you're gonna win this tournament, etc. And she's like, yeah. He's like, how do you know? How do you know? She's like, because I know I did. Like, and the dad got so mad, but he built up their subconscious mind to say, hey, you're a winner. No matter what happens, you're a winner. You're gonna be great. You're gonna Nothing wrong with telling yourself that. Every athlete, every I'm gonna do the bunny quote, like, every good person that's going towards something good tells themselves that. Even the people, unfortunately, that aren't for good tell themselves that. That's how they believe in stuff. So what you
that's
feed your mind is 100%. It's so important. Like, I'd rather, I'd rather it would impress me more if somebody told me that they had affirmations than, like, I drive this car, I drive that, I got this in the back.
mm,
Like, that mean I
yeah,
don't man, everybody got a Benz. Everybody got a Benz, but have you read a book? Everybody got a Benz, but do you have affirmations? What's your subconscious telling you? Like, you can look at
right,
a person and say, okay, this person's growing, or this person's just like going through the motions. They just believe whatever somebody else tells them. I'm not a follower. But that's the subconscious belief. I'm not a follower, I'm a leader. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, I had to tell myself that. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
that's that's the that's the key that I noticed. Is like even Kobe. Like I say this, like when
Oh
I
yeah,
wasn't I'm
Kobe.
a Mavericks fan, so I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan. But after he retired, and I started looking at his quotes and hearing him speak, because he
Hmm.
spoke more. He really didn't speak when he was in, but then he was talking about, first thing I did is told myself I'm gonna be great. Okay, I can't shoot with the
Right.
right. I mean, I can't shoot with my left. I got to figure it out. It ain't no out. I don't give myself no out. But also, this the last part we gonna get to. He said also I put the work in too, though. I'm not just
Hmm.
wishing in a wishing well. He's like,
Right.
I'm not just going out here hoping that the shot go up. I go shoot a
Right.
thousand threes. I go put the work in. That's the part. That's the other part of it. Like you saying, vision boards. But one thing my cousin told me on the last podcast, he was like, I also write down work notes, like notes. How do I get to my affirmation or my goals? I also got a pad where I write down. I map out a plan. That's basically what it's called, a work plan. Yeah, a work plan.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can do these affirmations, and like something else I want to get into, I'll bring that up too. So we say vision boards, but also what I've seen is so speak it what you want. You got to use all the senses. You got to speak it. You
Mm-hmm.
got to print out a picture and touch it. You got to actually
Mm-hmm.
physically go somewhere to see where it is that you want it, see it. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Not necessarily taste it, but it's almost got
Yeah.
to be in your face. You got to be able to touch it. You got to be able to see it. Like my nephew, I tell him, he's like, I want to go to the NBA. I'm like, okay, we go to the game. I say, can you see yourself on the court? And he was like, I can see myself down there at the John. And I'll be like, okay, you got to put a picture up. Like you got to see it. You got to use every sense.
Right.
All of that is real because just little, I say little stuff. I got to stop demeaning, but stuff that I want to accomplish. I said this when I was
Yeah.
in a little bitty apartment in Virginia. I never forget. It's like it's right across from the beach, but the thing was $500, all bills paid. And
Mm-hmm.
she was my girlfriend at the time. I said we're gonna have a house, and
Mm-hmm.
she said she believed me, but I remember she was like, okay, like it's almost like, well,
Right.
you made me stay in this little apartment. We could have stayed because we could have stayed in a nicer apartment where most people had. It
Right.
was like $1,200, but I said I'm getting out and I'm
Right.
saving for a house. I'm not finna be in an
Right.
apartment forever. If I go pay $1,200 in an apartment, but just a little bit, basically, if I go pay and then 2 years later, 2.5 years later, I got the house. And then I like little stuff I say about that. And I said, oh, I'm gonna get a Tahoe, a black
Mm-hmm.
Tahoe. I got a black Tahoe. And then now, like so when I go to them low moments, I have to repeat to myself, like, remember what you did. Even something so simple as passing the swim in the boot camp. Bro, like
Right.
I know that's like to us that's funny, but like it was. I still remember the week and the day, bro. Week five.
Yeah.
I was like, nah. I told myself I'll never forget. I said I'm not coming back without passing. I,
Mm-hmm.
I passed that day, so even me remembering
Mm-hmm.
those, that's another thing that you got to remember. That's called building your self confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Hold those promises to yourself. If you promise
Yep.
yourself you're gonna go to the gym 4 days a week, no matter what, go to the gym 4 days a week because there ain't nothing like fulfilling a promise to yourself. Then you can't really fulfill
Right.
promise to others if you can't even fulfill a promise to yourself. That's the start. And then always remember it's a process. Like even if you mess
Mm-hmm.
up here, if you forget here, it's always tomorrow. It ain't about what situations throw at you. That's what I tell my other nephew. It's about how you react, man. Like we
Right.
can't control the stuff come our way, but we can control how we react. And I used to react how everybody want. Oh, they gonna take me down there low. Well, I can go lower. You know what I mean? Whenever they go low,
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Obama, I go lower. Let's
Right.
go.
Right.
That ain't you just taking your light and you dimming it, man. You
Right.
cutting your light out to get them what they want. But yeah, bro, it's a process, and I hope everybody get through on that process because, like I say, I need all the help. Hey, if y'all got books, send them my way. If you listening to this, I love that. Like
Right.
that's what I'm
And
on
then
now. I love it.
can I add something on there real quick?
Yeah, nah, we ain't wrapping up.
And
You know?
it doesn't end. Like the journey doesn't end. That's what I learned. Like I was like, man, I've been doing this thing. I had the app, like I did this, I do that, I do like I've done this part time, done this full time, like you have all these things, and then you realize like, well, dang, like I still got my whole life to live. I don't know why I'm trying to squeeze everything into like one tiny thing. Like, okay, I said my affirmations for a week. Like, boom, it's supposed to have. It doesn't. It doesn't work like that. Like you said,
Yeah.
you got to take action. And I would add on to that. If you think about it, every like just basic thought for any listener, any human achievement that's ever been done on Earth, from Jesus to countries to like whatever, like wars, athlete, they all believed in what they all subconsciously believed in what they were doing from A through Z, and they went on with it. Like Jesus wouldn't have been, going around telling people that this is right, that is wrong, like if he didn't believe it himself either. Like athletes, the same thing. People in wars, like trying to win or trying to bring peace to the world. Just any of that stuff. You have to subconsciously believe in what you're doing and truly believe it to where it's almost fact. And like you said, have that faith behind it, and then put the action behind it. That's what's gonna drive you. Like that subconscious mind is like it's like the like you said, the computer. It's the battery to the car. it's the wheels, it's what you need it's the stuff to start the fire. Like
Mm.
you can't let it burn out. Like that subconscious mind, what you're feeding your mind, you gotta constantly feed the fire more and more and more. If you don't feed your subconscious mind the fire, anything is gonna die out. It's gonna die out, and somebody else is gonna use you for their own stuff. But if you keep feeding your mind, which is the fire for your life, or the fuel you need to keep everything going, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. And the more you feed yourself, the bigger that fire is gonna grow, the more stuff you can accomplish due to the momentum of all that action that you're taking and that belief that you have. Think about anybody that's ever accomplished anything from school to driving a car to you subconsciously told yourself that you were going to do it, that you were going to succeed at it, and you did it. Anything that you wanted to do. I'm talking, I want to lose the weight so I can do this or I can do that. You did it. Like I haven't known a point where somebody has subconsciously told themselves enough and done the action to where they failed at it. Like they
Exactly.
usually get there. They
And
usually
then
get there.
the another part you just reminded me. I had a good friend tell me. He said it the same way you talking about the computer. He said, man, my mind like a mind frame, man. Some things, some negative things I gotta delete. He said, I don't like
Hmm.
I was trying to bring up something from high school, and he was like, I don't remember that, man. Some things I gotta delete so I can add better memories. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
and when you saying that with the mind frame, that's another kicker that I know I don't do. Like you can't hold on to certain things that ain't feeding you to where you
Right.
want to go. Like you gotta, I ain't saying forget about them and let them happen again. I never say that, but I'm saying, but you can't dwell on it. There you go. If you dwell on
Right.
a negative, you know what I mean, you can't dwell on that energy because you gotta replace that energy. But
Right. Think about the internet. You know, like what a pop up blocker is on the well, people don't even browse the internet like that no more. But pop up blockers. Think like
mm,
it's natural to have a negative thought throughout the day. I can't remember the quote, but people have like thousands of thoughts a day, and something
mm,
negative is going to pop into your mind. Your subconscious mind is that pop up blocker on the internet that blocks that thing for like you think it like it's gonna boom. Like I was driving today, something popped into my head. I was like, oh no, that ain't right. Throw it away. Pop up blocker. Like it's a
exactly.
virus. Like don't listen to it. Has nothing to do with your subconscious mind. Like your subconscious mind is the thing that blocks all that negativity out. That way you can only see the good. You can only see the possibilities and you can get there. Like for real. Whoever's listening, like for real, like you having those negative thoughts, you thinking this and that, like tone it down. The more you put into your subconscious mind to block that type of stuff, the easier it'll be to get through it. For
And your
real.
experiences change too. Like I didn't
Hmm.
expect, like, I mean, we knew each other in the Navy. We built it a bond, but I didn't expect us to ever do a podcast together. It's crazy how the law of attraction you talking about, the magnetism.
Right.
Some people I meet when I'm just working out that ask me a question, and I'm not gonna lie, I'll be prejudging them, and then they open their mouth and they
Hmm.
really asking me like something so simple. I was had on my Our Truth hoodie, and the dude said, Our Truth, I'm reading your hoodie. We not me. What is that? And I said, it's a podcast. I started it for men's mental health. And he's like, man, that's crazy because I go through a deep depression and I got everything I want. And I just been looking for something. I'm gonna check you out. Like, and then
Yeah, that's good.
2 to 5 years ago, I would have been like, yo, man, what you looking at? You know, I had that
Right.
energy, but my energy was
Right.
different. I was like, oh, it's just
Right.
my podcast, And I had about a
Right.
10 to 20 minute conversation with the man. But like
Right.
those kind of things has opened my eyes too. Like if you're not in that space to have that to converse or have that conversation, man, you can miss that. Like I don't know if he actually listened or not, but we needed that conversation. I even told him that, like, hey, I know I needed this conversation. I appreciate it. That
Right.
conversation was worth it. But it goes back to how you react to things, what you tell yourself every day. Like I used to think I
Hmm.
was crazy because I talked to myself, but I used to talk to myself like I told on the last podcast with you in a negative way. Like, oh, be prepared for this.
Right.
Like, you're not preparing yourself, man.
Right.
You're really harming yourself by preparing for the negative consistently. But yeah, it's a forever thing. But once you can build that routine, it has to get better. It's like anything else. Like my cousin told me, he's like, it's like working out, man. What you think? You gonna stop working out and still be able to go to the gym and lift? It don't work like that. You got to still
Yeah.
be telling yourself
Yeah.
the same thing. You got to work it out. And I was like, ah. I said, man, I've been doing this for a
Right.
while. I'm tired. He like, okay,
Right.
so what? Like he basically was like, okay, you got to keep it going. But yeah,
Right.
but I
Nah,
appreciate you
man.
though, Chill, man.
Hey, no
Whenever you
problem, man.
come on for that business side, I want to hear that, man. I need to up the business
Hey,
side of the podcast, boy.
that's a whole man. That's a whole topic, man. Like I love to come back on and talk to you about it. Shoot, or even if it's not even on here, like privately. I
Oh,
I
yeah.
really need to. We got to talk about that. Like what I've been through, what I'm experiencing, and I learn from everybody. And your perspective might help it. I mean, it's still there. It's still gonna come back and do his thing and et cetera, et cetera. But sometimes I would say this. Sometimes I think God, if you believe in that, like gives you a taste of it. That way you know it's real. Takes it back, lets you fix everything that you need to fix, shows you what roadblocks to avoid, and then gives it back to you.
Mm,
That way you can have it how you want it to be truly built. It's like, okay, here's a vision. Here's the vision. Okay, subconsciously I told you, like, you believe in yourself that you know that this is the right thing for you. All right, I'm gonna take it back. And sometimes that hurts. Like you feel like it's like a mountain, like a peak and a valley. Okay, I'm showing you the peak. Like you you getting a little bit of success. You touching more money you ever touched or whatever. I'm not saying this, but just in general, you doing more than you ever done. Like you getting there. Okay, I'm gonna take it away, or I'm gonna show you some adversity. Okay. Now you know, now you got the hunger for that thing. You want that back. I can't keep you up there the whole time. I gotta fix some stuff down here. That way your next peak will be higher. I gotta bring you down again. That way I can show you something. That way the next peak will be like mountains go from peak, valley, but they get higher as they go. It's kind of like steps. Kind of like
mm.
steps. So
Can't
I was
skip
like,
no
man,
steps. That's this motto for this season, boy. You
skip no
can't
steps,
skip
man.
the steps. Hey, believe me, I try to skip them. You cannot. You can't
Hey,
jump.
you try to jump over too. Hey, you're gonna
Yeah,
come back down. That thing
yeah. You
real.
gonna be mad. You'll be like, man, I just did this. But yeah, bro, like,
Right.
man. And then
I'm like,
I
how
think
am
I
I
said this
restarting
before.
over?
Y'all probably gonna get tired of me saying. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Y'all probably gonna get tired of me saying this, but you know the up and downs real quick. Like I used to always be like, man, I'm getting tired of the up and downs. Why I can't just be even killed? And then my wife was like,
Right.
she heard something that they said the therapist was talking to somebody and was like, if you even kill when you see a flat line on the EKG, they dead.
Yeah. Hey,
So you
actually, I heard you say that. I was listening to your podcast yesterday. I heard you say that. I heard you say that on your podcast. Hey, I be listening. I be
I
li-
appreciate it.
I be
That's
listening.
like that's
I
like
be
that's the
listening.
one that was a kicker, boy. That she told me that I'm gonna hold on to that one. I ain't gonna say it no more, y'all. Y'all probably tired of hear that,
Nah, they need
but
to
yeah,
keep hearing. They need to keep hearing it.
yes, man. It's like I said, man. It's a journey. I'm not saying I'm anywhere perfect. I'm not there. Hey, but I can aspire to be. I know you're never gonna be perfect, but I aspire to be a better me every time you see
Right.
me. That's my goal. And
Right.
like I said, I'm gonna make this slogan of this season. I like that. You can't skip steps. You can't
Skip
you
steps. You
can't skip
can't skip
no
steps.
steps in life, no matter what you try
Right.
to do. Man. There's steps to
Right.
this. And this
Hey,
is
I
our
never.
truth. Oh, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
my fault. I was saying, you know how Nipsey always said it's a
No, you good.
marathon.
Go ahead.
Nipsey always used to say
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
marathon, and I'm not from the West Coast, so I'm like, oh, that sounds good, but I didn't really know what it meant. Now that I'm like trying to do something, I'm like, oh, hey, it's really a marathon. Like he was on to something. Nah, but I had to throw that in there. My fault.
For sure. For sure. No problem. This is our truth. We back with another episode. We out of here, and I appreciate y'all for listening. It's forever we not me. Until next week.